Welcome back. I think that if you watch the last maybe 10 minutes of the last video, you'll see that I didn't realize that the video had ended. Uh, and I was trying to shuffle papers and things like that. So, anyway, ignore the last 10 minutes as you probably would anyway. Um, but I want you to focus for the moment, if I can get this correctly. I'm sorry for the unsophisticated uh, visual aids here. That's a map of North America, 1783. 1783 is the year of the Treaty of Paris. This way, that way. And the results of the American Revolution and the Treaty of Paris, at least one of them, is a new map. Okay? And if you, let's see if I can do this. I feel like a weatherman trying to work in front of a green screen. But you see the blue. I can't get up there. That's it. There we go. Oh, God, this is terrible. Um, Going up and down, going from south to north, north to south, that is the Mississippi River. I'm getting too far. Um, and the blue is, as of 1783, the United States of America. Okay? A result of the Treaty of Paris is that you see the red in the north, you see the brown in the west and in the south. The red is Great Britain, okay, and the brown is Spain. Well, the Spanish colonies, British colonies after the surrender at Yorktown in 1781 by Lord Cornwallis. That's the last major battle of the American Revolution. It takes a while for the treaty to be formed and results to take effect. What are those results? What are the results of the American Revolution? Okay, there are direct and indirect results. First of all, one direct result is that Great Britain says, we recognize the United States of America as a sovereign nation, a separate, independent state. That's big. They have to swallow pretty hard on that one. The United States of America, as you saw, run right to the Mississippi River, from the Great Lakes in the west, from Florida in the south. The Great Lakes in the north, the Mississippi River in the west, and Florida in the south. Those are our borders: Atlantic Ocean, Great Lakes, Florida, Mississippi River. Okay. What the Proclamation of 1763 did was to cut off, to use the Appalachian Mountains to cut off the colonists from moving west. They moved west anyway, but now that is all the United States of America, if you can hold on to it, and that will be a question. Okay. The fact that Florida is reacquired by Spain, okay, that there are colonial fishing rights in the Atlantic Ocean. I should say that the now United States of America would find fishing rights going out into the Atlantic Ocean. That they did they retained them from the time when they were still colonies. One direct result is regarding the Loyalists, the Tories, the men and women who stayed loyal and swore their allegiance to King George III and did not take up independence did not fight for the cause that they considered to be treasonous. Well, if you were a Tory in colonial America and you were not being protected by British troops, say like in New York City, which was held to the end of the war by British troops. In fact, there was a holiday that was celebrated for a very long time in New York. It was called Evacuation Day. And Evacuation Day was the day when the British Army got picked up by the British Navy out in New York Harbor, and the British Army was no longer in control of New York City and in general in control and holding on to now territory of the United States. But if you were a loyalist, and then the British were no longer there to protect you, you were in big danger. Loyalists were persecuted mercilessly, and you can understand in some cases that the Patriots were fighting for their very lives, and if captured would be drawn and quartered, executed by British forces. So people who continued to remain loyal found themselves to be persecuted greatly. Their lives were threatened. Their property was destroyed or taken from them. At the end of the war, the treaty allowed loyalists to have their property returned to them, and debts paid back to them that they were owed. Now, direct effects. We have a new nation, and that map is changed, and you might want to notice that there is no coloration to any great extent for France. I thought Rochambeau and de Grasse's Navy bail out Washington at Yorktown. Well, they do. They bail out the nation, and they help create the United States of America. So where is their repayment? That's a very good question. We'll talk about that some more. But the map is now new, and the United States of America is new. And so those are the direct effects. But indirectly, as we said before, Jefferson's Declaration of Independence is going to be inspirational for many revolutions in the future. One in particular in the very, very near future, in 3 or 4 more years after the Treaty of Paris. The last autocratic king, Louis, are going to be caught up, and they are going to become victims of the Reign of Terror, and we'll talk more about that. But the French Revolution is not only going to be inspired by Thomas Jefferson, it's going to be fostered by Ambassador of the United States to France, Thomas Jefferson, in his parlor in Paris. So the Declaration of Independence is inspirational, as we said. It's a document for the ages, but also the fact that little old 13 British colonies beat back and declare and win their independence and become the United States of America is an incredible, incredible story, and gives a lot of inspiration and morale boosting to other nations trying to get rid of their monarchs, their despots, their oppressive governments. Indirectly, but something that bears very much importance is the idea that it's uh, it's not it's not who you are anymore. It's what you are. What the American Revolution is going to remove from our society to a great extent is the idea of nobility and royalty, the ideas of title. Titles of nobility are gone. Okay, um, the idea of and the practice of primogeniture, where uh, title, land, and property are all passed down from father to the firstborn son. Okay, officially, legally. Okay, now I know culturally that will still go on in some cases, but we don't have lords and ladies. Um, the president, when we finally do get a president of the United States, George Washington is going to insist upon being Mr. President, not Your Excellency, not Your Highness, and all of that. And again, we'll talk more about that. But understand, America is something new. It's an experiment that possibly may fail. It succeeds in the very beginning. The American Revolution is won. Now what? Now what's next? But in any case, lords and ladies and dukes and duchesses and knights and kings and queens and princes, that's for the old world. For the United States of America, it's a brand new nation founded on the philosophy that all men are created equal. You know, of course, slavery and the like, founded by elites, but it's a different smoke. The stranglehold of British mercantilism. Now we're going to want Britain in our trading mix. We're going to want to be trading back and forth with Britain. That's going to become a bone of contention, and I'll talk about that next. But at the very least, very least, the stranglehold that Britain had on trade, that now the United States, before that the colonies had to trade exclusively with Britain. Oh, that's not going to be the case. And what we're going to end up with from the Declaration of Independence, which is our founding document, with the philosophy, as we said, the Lockean philosophy of life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, equality, brotherhood, fraternity, and liberty. We're going to create a loose union of states. Okay, out of the Declaration of Independence is going to spring our Constitution. Now, you may think you're familiar with this Constitution. Some of you may be familiar slightly with this Constitution, something that I will talk about next. It's called the Articles of Confederation. Thought I was going to say something else. The Articles of Confederation gives us a government, it gives us laws that we're not fully familiar with these days. It was a different government, it was democracy, but it's a different government than what we have today. And that I will talk about next time. This time I will be sure to stop it and turn it off, and then we'll move on to the next one.